I recently made a video to tell you guys how I felt about all of the upcoming Amazon Echo products, and I had this to say about the Echo Studio. It's talking about sending audio around the room to bounce it off the walls so it hits your ears the way the artist intended. That's what it actually says, among a whole bunch of buzzwords that mean nothing. I just don't buy it. How can it? It doesn't know where I am in the room. Unless I'm sat directly central, it's not going to work, is it? I had to buy this. And the reason I had to buy this is because people in the comments section said, "You can't judge that speaker, you've never tried it before." This to me is just like saying, "You don't know it's not raining potatoes outside, you haven't looked out of the window." I don't need to look out of the window to know it's not raining potatoes, for the same reason that I know this cannot deliver 3D sound across literally any room in the world, no matter what shape it is, to me, no matter where I'm sat, no matter where I have positioned this in the room. It's just physically impossible, because science. So, the big question is, why do I really like it? Before we get into how wrong or how right I was about this speaker, I have a little story. So once upon a time, there was an emperor, and he bought the finest, most expensive, invisible clothes from a clothier. Is that a word? I don't care. So he bought them from the clothier, he left his house, and all of the villagers pointed at him and said, "That guy's butt naked." And he said, "I'm not butt naked. I spent a lot of money on these very invisible clothes and they're brilliant." And this is what the smart home industry currently looks like. Because we're all spending so much money on stuff, when it arrives we go, "It's brilliant." It's brilliant. And we convince ourselves that it's brilliant, and then we go and convince our friends that it's brilliant, and then they buy it. And they're buying the finest invisible clothes in the land, and they go, "Oh, I've just spent a lot of money on that, it's brilliant." Everybody thinks their speakers are utterly brilliant. Do you remember back in the day when Dolby used to put their name to a product and it would mean something? You'd go, "Wow, that surround sound system has Dolby Atmos, it's going to be amazing." And then these days it's like, Dolby Atmos. I'm not joking, apparently this phone has Dolby Atmos. Sounds like garbage, but it's got Dolby Atmos. Dolby Atmos in this position? Probably. Dolby Atmos is in this thing, let's go plug it in and see if it sounds any good. So when I put this thing opposite me at the end of my living room, and I sat there, and I'm listening to it, and I'm thinking, I can hear stuff behind me. I can hear stuff behind me. I started to wonder, am I wearing invisible clothes? So I called Nisha in, because she would look better in invisible clothes than I would, and I sat down and I said, "Babe, can you hear things behind your head?" And she said, "Yes." And we can. I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, the reason for this is because it is positioned in the most preposterous place it could possibly be positioned in. Hands up, whose missus is going to let them put a special table in the middle of the living room floor with the Echo Studio on it? Nobody! Literally nobody is going to be able to do that. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, "Well, Paul, I'm going to put it in the cabinet underneath the TV." No, you're not. Because if you stick it in the cabinet, it just reflects all the sound of the inside of the cabinet and sounds like a pig. So then you think, well, I won't do that then. I'll put it in front of the TV. It's a behemoth. You can't stick it in front of the TV because it's massive. So then you think, well, I'll put it over to the left-hand side, and that's when all of that magical stereo stuff just disappears. Because once it's no longer central, it's going to start bouncing more audio off one side than the other. And I know there are people in the comments right now going, "No, because it recalibrates automatically." No, it doesn't. Let me explain to you why the calibration is pure fantasy bollocks. It's pure fantasy bollocks because of this. Hark! Science noises. That must mean science is happening.
Just a moment while I tune your echo to match the acoustics of this room. From now on, even if you move the device, it will automatically adjust to the acoustics of the new space.
Oh, you didn't need the science noises. You can just magically calibrate from literally any piece of music or any piece of cinema. Bollocks! Here's why it's bollocks, right? The initial tones, it's firing left, it's firing right, it's firing up, and it can listen to them and then hopefully assess where it is in the room. That's the idea behind it. If it's playing literally any piece of music, there's sound coming out of everywhere. It can't just magically go, oh, that bit was for the left, that bit was for the right, I must be there in the room. Complete nonsense. Either that first thing is just a lie, which is really insulting, or it was necessary and it doesn't work anymore. Which is it? I'm not sure it makes any difference whatsoever to recalibrate this thing, but if you do want to do it, you just hold down the action button for about 20 seconds, she'll say some stuff, and then you keep holding it down for the rest of your life, and then eventually it'll start doing the whole factory reset and give you some more science noises. And Amazon literally, if you contact them now and say, I want to put it back into calibration mode, their staff don't know how. They're just like, no, it'll figure it out, don't worry about it. Well, what was the point then? I have recalibrated it over and over again in different positions, and as soon as it's in anywhere other than the actual prime central location, I can spin around with my eyes closed, open them up, and I'm pointing at it. I know exactly where it is because the 3D sound is gone. It's just another mono speaker sat in the corner of your room. If you can't locate this thing centrally, and you're planning on using it as an actual home theatre system, don't. Just don't. Don't buy it for that reason. This brings me on to my second point. Just go up to any one of your walls in your living room right now, get about this far away from it and go, ha, psh, buh, huh. You look like a moron. Stop it. But what you'll notice is the reflections of your walls aren't pretty. There's a weird kind of echo. And every time you go to a different wall and you've got like a glass panel there, it sounds different from the other wall because that wall's just plaster, this wall's got a mirror on it, that's a fireplace. Ooh, the acoustics of my fireplace sound lovely. Pish, ba, poo, pish, ha, hoo. What? And this is why, if you go to a really good home theatre, they've put acoustic panels on the walls specifically to stop sound from reflecting. Hey, this thing relies on sound reflecting, so that's got to tell you something. And please, this is the most important part of the video, and if you knock me in the comments section, I'm going to point you at this timestamp. This is an incredible speaker. I have never heard anything this size sit in front of me and so convincingly make it sound like stuff is behind me. And with such detail and clarity and with warmth and this powerful bass, this thing only costs this much money and I don't understand. It is an amazing price tag for an absolutely amazing speaker. The only thing I want you to take away from this video, apart from the fact this is an amazing speaker and you should probably buy it, is you're gonna need a very specific setup because it needs to sit centrally, and it isn't as good as your mate's surround sound system. If you think that it is, you're an emperor and you should put some clothes on. I think where this speaker truly shines is as a replacement for a sound bar, because it really does do an amazing job of getting the sound behind your head, and it does have a really nice sound. If you're looking for something other than a surround sound system, this could well be the speaker for you. Musically speaking, I'm not 100% convinced. It does lack some warmth in the lower mids. There's just an area somehow that's missing until I switch off the stereo enhancement. If I switch the stereo enhancement off, all of a sudden it feels really tight. It doesn't feel like the music is around you anymore. It's right there in front of you. And then you get the kind of EQ you're looking for. So you get the nice warm sound, but it's stuck there in the middle. It's almost as if Amazon did it on purpose, so you would have to buy 2 of them to put them either side of your room. If I didn't have this YouTube channel, would I buy this speaker? No. And the reason is not because it's not a good speaker, because it is absolutely phenomenal at what it does. But what it does is pretend to be a surround sound system. Now, I think you could probably save an extra £100 and get 2 front speakers, a centre speaker, 2 rear speakers, and a subwoofer, and blow that thing out of the water. I know £100 is a lot of money, but in the long run, I think it's worth that investment if you really care about your sound. If you're not able to do all that stuff, like I said, this is great. This is the best speaker I have heard so far at doing that emulation, but it is still emulation. Musically speaking, I think in an ideal world I would buy 2 of them and I would have them stereo paired with the stereo spatial feature turned off so that I'd got proper stereo sound out of 2 really nice sounding speakers. But it's quite expensive. Currently what I've got set up is an Echo Dot either side of this room, and they're such nice speakers that they do a really good job. In an ideal world, they would be replaced with 2 of these speakers. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. That tells YouTube's algorithms it was a good video. More people should see it. Hit that subscribe button if you want to see some more of this guy, and ding that bell. If you ding the bell, it lets you know when I upload videos. These amazing people here are my patrons, and without them, these videos would not happen. I need these people, they are the best. If you want to be one of these people, you can do that at either Patreon or buy me a one-off beer at PayPal, and either way, I'll love you forever. My social medias are places that you can come and hang out with me. I will make you laugh there, I promise. Goodbye. Thinking, well, I'm gonna stick it on top of the TV cabinet, yeah. This in my life. I don't want you. I don't want you. All of the upcoming because that is the laws of physics. The laws of physics. I recently made a video to tell you guys, I don't know why I'm waving my fist at you. Here is why it's fantasy bollocks. Hark. Hark.